Restoring an Ontario Knife Company's Short Chef's Knife. Part 1, The Blade. William Hovey Smith, 2016. I am the author of Backyard Deer Hunting and also the owner of a new company, Hovey's Knives of China. Among the things we also do is restore old knives back to working condition.
This is Hovey Smith, the Backyard Sportsman. I'm also the owner of a new company, Hovey's Knives of China. And on our last Billy Joe Rubidoux project, where we take found steels and make useful knife-like things out of them, we made this grill scraper out of a very old, rusted, broken off hole that had been out there in the weeds literally for 4 or 5 years or better. We also salvaged 2 more pieces from it. And from the shank here and from the protector of the handle, we are ultimately going to make a spear point. But that's for another day. Today, these are common kitchen knives. These were inexpensive hardware knives that were sold anywhere from the 19-teens through the 1950s, or even before for that matter, and are forged out of high carbon steel. The steel on these blades is good quality. It's the handles that have particularly deteriorated, and of course it has odds and ends of rust on it. This is a little paring knife of the same sort. This is stamped Forge Craft, whereas this one is an old hickory. But I strongly suspect these things came out of the same factory. The blade work is almost identical, except of course for the size and shape of the knife. And what we're going to do with this blade is we're going to restore it. We're going to put new scales on it. What happens with these knives is because oftentimes these knives were immersed in water all the way, which you should not do. There's rust here. Carbon steel rust, it expands and it breaks the scales. Plus, the knife, this wasn't an expensive knife to start with, and this scale, there's a gap here between the scale and the metal. And we're going to refit new scales from rosewood that'll be much more resistant to this kind of stuff, as well as rework the blade. Now, because we don't have to re-harden the blade, but are merely going to clean and sharpen it, this we can do, reasonably inexpensively. And we will, rebuild your grandma's knives if they're not too terribly bad off. We can salvage some pretty gruddy stuff so long as the blades are reasonably sound. Because this blade is already hardened, we're not going to try to drill all the way through, but use a slightly oversized bit and drill this brass pin down to the steel. And then we'll put it in a hydraulic press and actually drive it out the rest of the way with a punch. Yeah, it's very easy driving them out. And these are actually brads. It's almost through now. Yeah, it's done. I've given the blade just a few seconds here on the wire wheel of the bench grinder. And it's doing good. You can see the heavy rust right here, and it was even thicker than that along this edge, quite a bit thicker as a matter of fact. But now I've got it removed down to where you can see actually some of the original case hardening finish that was on the blade. And the same here, the rust is coming off, and I haven't touched the point yet, but you'll be able to see when I do that, yeah, this is going to be coming out looking somewhat like the original blade, actually, so far as the amount of finish. And all of the markings are coming up clear. All the surface rust has been largely taken off. So yeah, I can restore this blade just with this wheel. and am not going to do anything else to it so far as polishing goes. This never was a mirror bright blade, and I'm not going to make it so. So this is coming up much better now. It's going to be about the finish I'm going to try for. We're now at the stage of looking at this knife and deciding how far along are we going to proceed and in what manner. For these grips, the difficulty is that this is already hardened steel to heat treat and have soft steel to work with and then retreat and repolish, etc., etc., etc. No, we can't afford to do that. But nonetheless, we have to attach scales on this that at least somewhat resemble the original.
Here is our logo, and here are some of the many knives that we produce at Hovey's Knives of China. Now, charges for rebuilding knives are somewhat as listed below, but it depends on your individual knife. For more information on my books, blogs, and more than 575 videos, you can go to my website, www.hoveysmith.com. Good hunting and good eating from the outdoors. Goodbye, and God bless.